It's 50-50 with me on that one.
The build-up's been really structured well.
I'm pissed we're not getting him on TV doing more matches, but he's still fresh out the gate. They gotta save him for the pay-per-view.
I love when like a pay-per-view or a premiere live event can be unpredictable.
Like, I think that they're gonna be feeling the crowd.
But they're about to steal the show.
We should have had this fucking pay-per-view at a later
Like
date.
the longer PLEs, while others, they do like the short card. What is up? We are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide. I'm the host with the most, Mr. We Are Wrestling himself, the best one, Donnie here, ready to give you guys my AEW Revolution 2025 predictions. If you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already and you're listening to this on Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever you get your podcast, give us a 5-star review, not just any review, a best one review, and download the episodes, and give us a follow. Really helps with the algorithm. But if you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac, you're already over on the YouTube channel where you get the best pro wrestling content, and you're not a part of the thousands of subscribers, we recommend you to hit that subscribe button now, turn on the post notifications. Videos be coming out of nowhere like an RKO, and of course you already know, the grind is real. And just a reminder before we get into the predictions that I will be doing a live watch along to AEW Revolution over on the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel. So if you're looking for somebody to watch Revolution with, I will be live hanging out with the Maniacs. So with that being said, let's get into the AEW Revolution predictions. And if this is your first time listening to a We Are Wrestling predictions, we don't just pick winners, we like to actually talk about the build-ups leading to the matches and go in depth. And I will say, this year's Revolution, I think AEW has actually done a really good job with the overall build-up leading to this pay-per-view. I think that we have a solid match card that actually makes sense. There's not really that many last-minute decisions. And if you have been hiding under a rock when it comes to AEW, I think that you need to come out of that rock, because even though WWE right now, they have a lot of momentum and they're on the road to WrestleMania, AEW is producing some very solid television, in my opinion. And even Collision, they're doing a pretty good job over there. Even though I don't watch it live, I'll watch the highlights on YouTube, which is sometimes the best way to do it if you want to save time, because I'm a very busy person, so I don't really have the time to watch all wrestling. But I do watch Dynamite regularly, same with Monday Night Raw, same with Friday Night SmackDown, and I'm getting into NXT now, but like with TNA and like Collision, I do watch highlights on those, so at least I'm up to date with what is going on. And AEW, they've been doing a great job spreading out their roster for the most part, and they've been doing a very solid job, I think, when it comes to actually utilizing talent on TV. And the storylines have been pretty decent. A lot better than they were last year, that's for sure. So, with that being said now, let's get into the matches that we have here for Revolution. Starting things off with the 0-hour match that was announced. We have a 6-man tag match. Orange Cassidy, Big Boom AJ, and Mark Briscoe versus Johnny TV and MXM Collection. So this one does seem like it's a little bit of a random match. I haven't really been paying attention to what's been going on over there. I'm assuming they've probably been doing some little things over on Collision. But, not a bad 0-hour, because Big Boom AJ is a social media influencer. He does have a big following, so honestly, putting him on the 0-hour, I think, is a smart move for publicity purposes, getting more kids to probably tune into the 0-hour, which you could actually check out on YouTube for free. I actually kind of like the pairing of MXM and Johnny TV. I kind of hope that they actually keep that pair together, because I feel like that could be a really good trio group if they were ever to go in like the trios division. But if I did have to pick a winner here, I do think that the baby faces are going to win. Orange Cassidy, Mark Briscoe, and Big Boom. Moving on now to the regular AEW Revolution card here, which is absolutely stacked, and we will be doing a live watch along on the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel if you guys want to watch the show with me. But starting things off, we have for the AEW International Championship, Takeshita versus Kenny Omega. And my God, these two, if you have not watched their match from, I want to say, a couple years ago, highly recommend checking that out. I believe it was during All Out. And Takeshita and Omega, they have such great chemistry. And the storyline is there because Kenny Omega was a part of the Don Callis family for the longest time. Don Callis was his manager during his AEW World title run. And then eventually he turned his back on Omega. And Takeshita now is the new Omega in the Don Callis family. So I kind of like that. Like, we're coming back around full circle. I think Don Callis is absolutely awesome for AEW TV because he's just such a great heel manager. And I think having the Don Callis family on TV every week on Dynamite is a smart move. I think that it's a good way to actually utilize Takeshita. It's a great way to utilize Brian Cage and Lance Archer and even Kyle Fletcher, who we'll talk about in just a moment. I think that the Omega versus Takeshita, they have done a great job with this build, and I think that this could be a potential match of the night. And I know I'm going to say that throughout this entire predictions, but if I did have to pick a winner here, I think Kenny Omega is going to win the International Championship. I think Takeshita is at a very solid run, and Omega hasn't beat him yet. So I think that we're actually going to get a new champion here. Unless Don Callis pulls some bullshit, which I could also see happening. Moving on to our next match here, we have for the AEW Continental Championship, Okada versus Brody King. Another great match. I think that this is going to be, the storyline could be a little bit better, but I will say that Grand Slam in Australia, Buddy Matthews versus Okada was a really good match despite Buddy getting hurt in the beginning when he was coming out to the ring. I think that they did put on a great match and one that I definitely want to see run it back. So I'm assuming that's probably why they're giving Brody King this opportunity here. And it's crazy to see how much better Tony Khan is booking Brody, Julia, and Buddy without Malachi. Like, I think that that is kind of crazy because I thought that, like, they were all going to get lost in the shuffle once Malachi left AEW, but it seems like it's the total, complete opposite now, which I did hear reports that, like, Malachi Black, like, he had a lot of trouble putting over other talent, but we don't know what's true, what's false when it comes to, like, AEW drama and all that. This is the extra for pay-per-view predictions, not drama. But this match I do think is going to be very good. Brody King is super talented, so I like that he is getting to showcase his talents against somebody like Okada. But I don't see Brody winning the championship. I think that Okada is going to retain. But it will be a heavy-hitting match. Moving on to our next match here on the card, we have a steel cage match, Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher. And this is, I cannot wait for this steel cage match. Kyle Fletcher has really grown on me a lot since turning on Will Ospreay. I think that he is absolutely killing it right now in his singles run. And I really think that Kyle Fletcher does need this win. But I don't know. I feel like I could see Ospreay winning this as well. Which Ospreay is somebody that I really do think AEW should be building their company around. I think that he is the top babyface that they have. And I feel like by AEW All In, they should give Will Ospreay the AEW World Championship. And I know that's going to be kind of tough because there's a lot of guys right now in AEW that could be considered an AEW World Champion. I know Hangman Adam Page right now, there's fans that want him to win the championship. But I feel like Will Ospreay's the guy that they really need to give this world title to and let him run with it. I think that he's the perfect person to win the AEW world title. But I do think that this is going to be a great match, and this will probably be their way of ending the feud with Fletcher and Ospreay. I feel like Fletcher needs this win, Ospreay needs this win, so it's a lose-lose situation here for both guys. But I do think that at the end of the day, Will Ospreay is going to win it because there's bigger plans for him to probably eventually go for the AEW World title. So I'm going to have to give it to Will. Moving on now to our next match here. One that I think a lot of people are the most excited about. I know I am. MJF versus Hangman Adam Page. This is going to be a great match. Two day one AEW guys going at it. They've only had one match, and that was before Dynamite was a thing, during the AEW World Championship Tournament, which Hangman Adam Page did beat MJF. I think that this is going to be such a good match, and I think AEW made such a great decision by dropping the Jeff Jarrett and MJF storyline for Hangman versus MJF. I think that this is the best version that we've gotten from Hangman in such a long time, because he was doing great work with Swerve, but then he kind of got lost in the shuffle after beating him. But I really do like this new side of him, and I think him having this new edge to him as a babyface is the right move, because that is how a lot of people got invested in Hangman the first time, when he was chasing for the AEW World Championship. So I actually really do like that a lot, what they're doing here, and I think if there's anybody that's going to bring that out in Hangman, it's MJF. And MJF has been lost in the shuffle for a while since returning from that injury, since losing the championship at AEW World's End to Samoa Joe. So I think MJF coming back and working with a guy like Hangman is definitely going to do wonders for him, a lot more than working with good old Double J. I think that their promo work, them going back and forth, the face-offs, have been perfect. And it really has a lot of us AEW fans invested in this rivalry, in this match, and there's no way in hell they end this in just a regular match. I do think that they're going to have this feud go on probably all the way to maybe AEW Double or Nothing, which is what I hope happens. I think that this match here, MJF is going to beat Hangman. And I think that this won't be the last time that these two do face each other off. I think MJF's going to weasel his way out of this one, and Hangman's not going to take it lightly. While MJF tries to move on because he beat Hangman, Hangman's still going to try to get his hands on MJF, and then we get some type of stipulation match at either Dynasty or Double or Nothing. But I do think MJF, he will find a way out of this one and beat Adam Page. Moving on now to our next match here on the card, we have a number one contenders match for the AEW World Championship. Swerve Strickland versus Ricochet. And this is also another great rivalry. A lot of people were shitting on Ricochet when he first joined AEW. Yes, he still needs some work with his promo skills, which is why I thought originally, he was going to join, the Don Callis family, and he was going to have Don Callis by his side. But this here is definitely one of those unpredictable matches that I really could see going both ways, because Swerve, obviously, he's been lost out of the shuffle after losing to Hangman Adam Page, so having him and Ricochet kind of going at it, I think that this is a perfect opportunity, and one that, damn, it's tough. Because I could see Swerve Strickland winning, finally getting that robe back, but then I could also see Ricochet winning with the help of Prince Nana, and I think Prince Nana could be a great manager, somebody that could speak for Ricochet. But I do have a prediction here, and this one's a bold one, so here's what I think is going to happen. I think that Ricochet is going to beat Swerve with the help of Samantha Irvin. I think Samantha Irvin is going to be joining AEW, and she's not going to be a ring announcer. I think that she is going to be Ricochet's valet, and I think that Ricochet is about to go on one of the best runs possible. So I got to give this one to Ricochet, but I don't think that this will be the end of Swerve versus Ricochet. And I do see that Swerve maybe costing Ricochet his world title match. But we're just going to have to wait and see what happens here. But I do think that Samantha Irvin will help Ricochet win. Prince Nana is not turning on Swerve. Not happening. Moving on now to our next match here. We have for the AEW TBS Championship. Mercedes Moné will be defending her title against Momo. Not even going to try to pronounce her last name. This is one of those random matches. I know that Momo, she won some tournament in Japan in the beginning of the year, and she was at AEW Grand Slam Australia, and then I guess she made the announcement who she was going to pick to go against for their championship, because I guess this little tournament, if you won it, you got to pick whatever championship to go for. You could have went for the AEW Women's title, you could have gone after the TBS, you could have gone after the Stardom title, I think. That's how it works. I'm not 100% sure. But she picked Mercedes Moné. I think that this match, I don't really have any expectations for it. I don't care for Forbidden Door matches, really. But I really want to start seeing Mercedes go after the AEW Women's World Championship after this, like, Mariah May and Toni Storm feud. So, honestly, I do think Mercedes will retain her championship. I don't see them giving it to somebody from Stardom. But I really hope that after this, maybe at Double or Nothing, Mercedes Moné finally loses the title, and then we can finally focus on her going after Toni Storm for her women's world title. Because I feel like there's a lot of solid mid-card women wrestlers on the AEW roster that I feel like could benefit holding that TBS championship. It did really good things for Chris Statlander. It did good things for Willow Nightingale. So I would, and even Julia Hart. So I think that, like, we need to get back to that and put the main event women stars after the world title. So I do think that Mercedes will retain here, but I do hope we get somebody to take that TBS title from her pretty soon. Which I do think that her run will end shortly, so that she could focus on Toni Storm. Moving on now to our next match, it is for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. The Hurt Syndicate will be defending the titles against the Outrunners. And I will say this, I like that the Outrunners are finally getting an opportunity on a big stage to showcase what they can do, because the Outrunners have done a fantastic job getting over, and they did a lot of that on Ring of Honor and AEW Collision, and also Rampage. Shows that a lot of people don't watch, but they have found a way to get over with the AEW crowd, and they have not really been on AEW Dynamite. So I feel like them getting rewarded here at AEW Revolution to get a title shot against two very established guys in Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, they absolutely deserve it. And I think that the Outrunners, we're going to start seeing them regularly on TV after this. I think that this is a great way to showcase their skills. And I think that the Hurt Syndicate, though, they just won the titles. They're massively over with the fans. So I do think that they are going to retain the titles. I will say this, going into Revolution, I was hoping that the Hurt Syndicate were going to go against Lance Archer and Brian Cage, because they're basically all the same size. That would have been a nice, heavy-hitting match. And I think that could have done some things for Brian Cage and Lance Archer, but I understand them wanting to give it to the Outrunners because they have really gotten over with the crowd. And I don't think that this will be the last time we see these guys go at it. And maybe down the line, the Outrunners will win the AEW tag titles against them. But I do think that here at AEW Revolution, Hurt Syndicate will win. But the Outrunners are going to give them a run for their money. Moving on now to our next match here. It is for the AEW Women's World Championship in the Hollywood Ending match. Timeless Toni Storm will be defending her title against Mariah May. And this has been one of the best women's storylines in all of professional wrestling. RJ City deserves his flowers. He's been the guy that has been behind this entire storyline. They have done such a great job with Mariah May, establishing her into a top women's star in AEW. And Timeless Toni Storm is right now the best character in all of women's wrestling, in my opinion. That includes WWE, TNA, NWA, Stardom, all of these promotions. Timeless Toni Storm is the best character. And they have done such a fantastic job here. And I do like that they did give Toni Storm the championship in Australia. And this is definitely going to be the end of such a great feud. One of, I think, the best women's storylines in all of AEW history. I think that Timeless Toni Storm will retain her championship, and I think that this is going to be such a perfect ending. I really do hope that Mariah May doesn't get lost in the shuffle after this, because they have done a great job with her, and I think that she's going to be a top heel in the AEW women's division for years to come. But I do think that Timeless Toni Storm retains the championship, because I do see the bigger picture here. AEW All In, we're getting Toni Storm versus Mercedes Moné. Book that. And finally, we have our main event match for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Jon Moxley defending the title against Adam Copeland, formerly known as Edge. And I will say this with the Death Riders, I know it's very 50-50. There's fans that are invested in the storyline, while there's other people that just think that it's a snooze fest. I'm with the majority. I've been invested in this whole Death Rider storyline, but I would like to see the World Championship. I'm tired of that thing being in the suitcase. But there's a lot of different scenarios that can happen here because Christian Cage still does have that contract that he can cash in anytime for a world championship. And I won't be surprised if he does that here at Revolution. But then also Jon Moxley, they might want to give the title to Hangman eventually. They might want to give it to Will Ospreay eventually. And that could happen on a bigger stage like AEW All In. Or do they finally give the championship to Adam Copeland, somebody who is well known all over the wrestling world, and it would be a great way to kind of maybe bring some people back into watching AEW with a fresh start, with a fresh babyface holding the championship. And they've done a great job here, I think, with the storyline between Cope and Jon Moxley. I think getting Pac, getting Claudio, getting all these guys written off so that it's Copeland versus Moxley. I think they've done a great job there. And they even had, like, Wheeler, and I love, like, the involvement with Wheeler Yuta with Mox. I love that he's, like, the student, and, like, a lot of the times the matches really do determine on Wheeler Yuta and what's going to happen. And I think that they've done a great job there, and I can't wait to see, like, the time, like, when Yuta finally gets fed up with the Death Riders and he turns on them. I really do hope that it's one of those make situations and not a break. But I will say this, I have a feeling Jon Moxley is going to retain the championship, because there's some people that do believe that Jay White is going to turn on Adam Copeland, and that could be the next feud going on for a little while. But I feel like AEW could use that fresh start, and I think that it would be really cool to see Adam Copeland win the AEW World Championship, and I think if there's a time and there's a place that it makes sense for it to happen, it's in Los Angeles at AEW Revolution. I think that it would be a really cool fresh start, and I think people would tune in to Dynamite to see what Adam Copeland's going to say as the new AEW World Champion. But then you do have those baby faces like Will Ospreay and Hangman Adam Page that they might want to push as the next AEW World Champion, which I do feel like they are going to probably give it to Hangman eventually with the way that they've been pushing him. But I'm going to have to go with my gut here, and I do think that Tony Khan is going to give it to Adam Copeland. Copeland's going to win the championship, and they're going to start fresh on Dynamite, and I think that it's going to be a really cool ending to Revolution. But I could be wrong, because I do think that they might have bigger plans for the Death Riders. This is one that I am contemplating on. It can go back and forth, which I do feel like they will give it to but I'm going to go with Adam Copeland because I want that fresh start for AEW, and I think what better way than giving him the World Championship? It's good publicity, too. But guys, that was my full predictions for AEW Revolution. Let me know in the comment section below your predictions for this pay-per-view. I think that there's going to be a lot of surprises, a lot of twists, a lot of turns, and I think that they did a great job with the build-up, and there's a lot of momentum that they hopefully build off of after this. If you guys enjoyed the predictions, make sure to smash that like button now. If you are looking for somebody to watch Revolution with, I will be doing a live watch-along here on the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel for it, so if you want to come hang out with me, I love interacting with you guys in the live chat. That is the best way to do it. If you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac already and you're listening to this on Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever you get your podcast, give us a 5-star review, not just any review, a best one review, and download the episode, and give us a follow, of course. But if you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac, you're already over on the YouTube channel where you get the best pro wrestling content, live watch-alongs, live podcast every Wednesday, reactions, predictions, everything pro wrestling. Recommend you guys to hit that subscribe button now, turn on the post notifications. The link's down in the description below. You can go follow me over on my personal social media pages, or you can go follow We Are Wrestling on social media for latest wrestling news and all that good stuff, and even clips. You can check all that out. The link's down in the description box below. We do have a new clips channel for short form content. We're posting daily over there. So if you can go support us and hit that subscribe button on there, that will really help. But to all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide, we are taking over. Peace.